The opening of the new Central Library in downtown San Diego was big news this year. Arts and culture reporter Angela Carone documented some of the art inside the library. She's here to tell us about that and a few of her favorite stories from the year. Angela, the Central Library opened to much fanfare, and most people don't realize that there's actually more than books inside the library. There is artwork. You've done stories on that. Tell us about this.
There really is a lot of artwork scattered throughout the library, which is great for visitors. I did a couple of different stories on it. One in particular focuses on an artwork that's actually in the main elevator shaft in the library, which is pretty unusual. It's called Corpus Colossum, and it's sort of two stacked columns of glass boxes. There are 8 of them, and you view them as you rise up inside the elevator. And inside are all these little dioramas, and they're not like dioramas you would see at a natural history museum with nature scenes. These are kind of little fun house-packed worlds. They're really dense. They're full of knickknacks and bric-a-brac and found objects and glass sculptures and busts, and they're really, really dense and really fun to look at. And as I said, you watch them as you rise up inside the elevator.
What can you tell us about the artists who made this piece?
Well, they're brothers, actually. They work together, and their names are Einar and Jamex de la Torre, and they work in both Mexico and the U.S., and they're glass artists primarily, and their work kind of bridges that divide. They call themselves border artists, and they're kind of They make work that's like this great mashup of the border region. It references pop culture and life in Mexico and pop culture and life here in the U.S. And in my story, Jamex talked about what it was like to have their artwork inside the elevator shaft at the library. Here's what he said.
I think for an artist, doing a public art for a library is a pretty fantastic opportunity, and especially for us because we like to make our work layered and baroque and rich, so the more the better. And a library is a place where more is definitely better. You want more information, more access. Now the site that we got in the elevator shaft is a pretty sweet site for an artist.
Now, moving from the elevator outside into the California desert, you did a story about the creator of Salvation Mountain, which is a piece of artwork in the Imperial Valley that you've covered quite a bit. What drew you back to this story?
Well, the creator of Salvation Mountain is a man named Leonard Knight. He's 82, and over a year ago, he went into a nursing home. Well, prior to that, he had lived at Salvation Mountain for most of his adult life, really. I mean, he built this mountain from scratch, and that's no small feat. It's now 3 stories high, the length of a football field. It's really colorful. There are Bible verses painted all over it, and this was his life's passion. He lived at the base of the mountain out there in the middle of nowhere in the desert, slept in the back of a pickup truck, and he worked on the mountain every day. So for him, obviously, to move to the nursing home, it was a real adjustment. I got word that he was going to go back to visit the mountain. He had just had cataract surgery. He had admitted that he hadn't really seen the mountain clearly in 10 years. So we went with him. We made the trek 2 hours into the desert, and when we arrived, there were all these people and friends waiting at the mountain to see him, and his caretaker, got him into his wheelchair and wheeled him up in front of the mountain, and he was just thrilled. And this is what happened.
Take a look at your mountain.
Yeah. Hello. Hey, how are you doing? Been a long time. Good.
So you said Leonard Knight was responsible for all the upkeep. He's not there anymore, but this was his creation. This was his passion. What's happening to it now?
Yeah, it's actually a group of friends and sort of concerned locals from the area have gotten together, and they've kept the whole thing going, which is kind of amazing. They formed a nonprofit. They hire caretakers to live and work on the mountain. So there's someone there all night long so that they've had problems with graffiti. So now they have someone there for security reasons, and they have to work on the mountain. I mean, the amount of paint and patchwork that needs to be done on the mountain is pretty significant out there in those harsh conditions in the desert. So they have these caretakers. They do all of this through donations, and so they've kept it alive, which is great because they get so many visitors, and it's really become a real landmark in California. So in 2014, I'm going to keep watching to see what happens to Salvation Mountain.
And we look forward to that. We've got to wrap it up there. Angela Carone, arts and culture reporter, thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you.